Take a moment to talk about the outrage of ICE immigration raids and the hypocrisy of the people, both left and right. If you've never followed my content before, I'm a retired police officer. I was an active cop for the years 2001 to 2019. I served up in the Round Lake area in Lake County, Illinois. It's caught in between Milwaukee and Chicago. So we had a population base of residents who were white, who had lived there when the town was established, right, the 1960s and whatnot, a very heavy Hispanic population from around 65% plus, probably 80% plus of the people that we dealt with on a police contact level were Hispanic, and you had the black element that was chased out of Chicago and out of Milwaukee. When I moved up there, when I decided to work there, took the job, my uncle, who was a lieutenant in the Cabrini Green Firehouse for their Chicago Fire Department, told me, "Do you know where you're going to work?" I said, "No, you're going where they moved all the transplants from Cabrini Green to that area." So I know the element of the people that I'm going to be talking about. For everybody who is outraged right now, selectively outraged over ICE and the immigration raids, let me tell you something. This has been happening for decades, and you never gave a shit before. So, number one, I want to get this out of the way. I am neither conservative nor am I liberal. I think both sides have shown they are just fucked in the head, and they truly do not care about anything that's American other than what they can selectively be outraged for that day. Let's get the good out of the way. Now, number one, before I was a cop, I worked in the restaurant industry. I worked at TGI Fridays. I worked at Champs Americana. I worked at Dakota's Bar and Grill. I was a nightclub bartender at 4 a.m. bars and restaurants. I have seen Hispanics in their element, and I will tell you, no culture works harder than Hispanic men. No culture is more family-oriented than the Hispanic family. No culture is more loving than Hispanics. I'm giving my biases right now. And that transcended over to when I was a cop. Whenever we would have parties or fiestas or whatever, and the white neighbors would bitch and complain, we'd go over as cops on a noise complaint, and the Hispanic family would come out and say, "We'll turn it down. Here's a plate of food." They were the most hospitable, family-oriented, fantastic people on the planet. I have a massive, massive, massive soft spot for the Hispanic culture. That being said, let's talk about some things that all of you liberals who are outraged need to know. And let's get the conservatives out of the way first. For those of you who quickly want the illegals eradicated from your culture, I've said this before, I used to have a problem when I didn't understand what was going on, that the Hispanics who worked in the restaurants, they would take 60 to 70% of their pay and send it home. And I used to jump on the bandwagon, well, there goes American dollars and blah, 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 blah. Well, we waste American dollars every fucking day and nobody bats an eye about it. I will tell you that firsthand, when it comes to Hispanics, that they are the most conservative in the way that they raise their household. Mom works. Everybody who talks about how Charlie Kirk has been pioneering the whole mom stay at home, worship Christ, be Catholics, and all this, that's been the Hispanic culture since time immemorial. They have men who work 2 or 3 jobs. Mom stays at home. She runs the household, feeds the kids, makes sure dad is fed, all of that. They have been living that model before Charlie Kirk ever stepped on stage. So they're more conservative. They're just brainwashed when it comes down to the Democrat opportunists. Now, you liberals, I'm going to tell you how it goes. We used to deport more people than ICE every single fucking month in Lake County. We used to have a practice as cops. Anytime we went to a call, responded to a fight, a domestic, a theft, pulled over a DUI, anything that required the subject go to bond court, we would put an INS hold on it. So most of the time it was felony, retail theft over, an aggravated battery. Domestic battery was still a misdemeanor, but it required a bond court hearing. Any time that we took somebody violent off the street who was of an illegal status, now back then you could, as a cop, you could ask, "Are you here legally?" And most of the time, they would say, "No, I'm not." You would see driver's license with 7 different names on it, usually from Wisconsin, because back then, Wisconsin didn't give a shit who they gave a driver's license to, and you would just have illegal people here. We put INS holds on fucking everybody, and people were deported. We would deport people and see them 2 months later with a different Wisconsin driver's license and a different fucking name on there all the time. It got stopped by your government. Lake County This went on for 2 or 3 years. Lake County State's Attorney at that time, I do not recall who it was, had a problem with the fact that we were deporting criminals. We weren't rounding people up. We were responding to calls or dealing with people that required lawfully police interaction, determined they were not here, and all we did was compound their status on their crime and let the federal government do what they did. Those same people would pop back over the border 2 months from now, and they'd have a different name on it. Happened all the time. Lake County State's Attorney was the one who put the kibosh on that, so we stopped. So number one, for those of you who are bitching about this now because it's trendy, we did it for fucking years. We rounded up people when they broke the law. Now, I know a lot of you are all like, man, why is ICE doing this and blah, 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 blah. It needs to happen. And let me explain this because I know a lot of you live in La La Land. And again, remember, this is going to be both sides of the coin. Number one, conservatives, fuck you. You remember when Kelly Osbourne got caught on tape, or there's that show saying, well, who's going to wash your toilets, Mr. Trump? She was right. And they should have capitalized on that. For every one of you conservatives who's like, deport them all, blah, 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 blah. Number one, you're morons. I would choose, if I bought a house and I had a Hispanic family living next door to it, I'd buy that fucking house in a heartbeat. You have no idea how well they maintain their property, how family-oriented they are. I'll get to the little shitbag kids in a second. But number one, they're more conservative, and I said that before. Number two, when it comes down to the jobs, they'll do the jobs that your pampered little white spoiled asses never will. They will work 70 hours a week, scraping your dinner restaurant plates off, putting shit in the garbage, washing dishes, having the most vile fucking job out there for $400 a week cash when they have 3 kids at home, and they'll make it work. They will mow the lawns in the summertime, in the hottest, most humid Midwest fucking heat there is, and you fucks are lazy as hell. So when it comes down to the work ethic between the white conservatives who are all up in arms about getting rid of Hispanics, your cities would shut down in a heartbeat. If we deport every illegal Hispanic, say goodbye to your favorite restaurant, nightclub, fucking you name it. It's just gone. But liberals, let me talk about these people that you are praising and thinking do no wrong. Number one, I will tell you, it's not so much, but it is, the illegal who crosses the border here. It's their little piece of shithead, American-born kids that are mostly the problem. 90% of the gang members that we dealt with were the kids, the anchor babies that you like to call, because they knew that they could play over mom and dad who didn't speak English. They could twist and manipulate what the cops said so that they could smooth them over, and they got away with shit. It was their little bastard kids, mostly males, who were the fucking problems that were the gang members, the ones who were shooting everything up, the ones who were stealing shit. They were the problem because they knew how to manipulate mom and dad. Now, sadly, you're not going to want to hear this, but cultures and criminality go hand in hand. I know a lot of you think the Hispanic community could do no wrong. Do you know that they manipulate their own? Do you know that they have madams, for lack of a better title? Women who are in a position that will recruit younger Hispanic children who are very influential because they speak their language, and they will send them out to your favorite retail store to rob that fucking thing blind that you'll never notice because they do it so often. Not like the black mobs do, but very selectively. And they will take that merchandise, bring it back to their stores that they have in their basements of their homes and sell it to people in their community. Did you know how fucking problematic that is? You have these rings, these retail theft rings of Hispanic women who employ little Hispanic kids to go out to stores to steal for them, and then they resell it. That's a fucking problem. Number two, I know you don't want to hear this. Do you like your car? Because I'm going to tell you, the amount of Hispanics who drive illegally, or let me take that wrong, the amount of illegal Hispanics who are here who operate vehicles without driver's license and insurance, you have no idea how common that is. It's called a no valid driver's license. You can go to anyone, and just stick to Lake County since that's where I'm from. You can FOIA any area, Round Lake, Fox Lake, Waukegan, Zion, and FOIA. See if you can. The amount of no valid driver's license citations or arrests that they have. It's an epidemic. It's a cultural issue in the Hispanic community that they will go out, drive a driver's license, get into a car, and fucking flee the scene. You got a lot of hit and runs there. If you get a hit and run, it's usually a Hispanic male who doesn't have insurance on the car, and you are fucked. But these people are so great. Well, they got to get back and forth to work to their 2 or 3 jobs. Now, when you work 2 or 3 jobs in a Hispanic male, one of the cultural issues that they have too is a cocaine problem. Because they're busting their fucking ass to provide for 4 or 5 kids in their family and a wife who doesn't work, but she stays at home, right? So these guys are going to work 2 or 3 jobs. Again, what you white conservatives will never fucking do. They work laborious jobs that are exhausting, and they keep them, fuck Red Bull, they keep themselves on fucking cocaine like crazy to keep themselves going. Now on the weekends, when they're not working, which is usually 1 day a week, Saturday night in for Sunday, they will drink like a fucking fish. And when they drink like a fish, they will do one of 2 things. They will go out and drive. There's your DUIs. There's your family of 4 hit and killed by somebody. There's your accidents. And the amount of DUIs that have unlicensed, uninsured Hispanic males in the area I worked with was another massive problem. Go FOIA your police departments and find out. But we also had another problem. We used to call them domestic Sundays because the Hispanic male would drink, pass out, get up on Sunday morning, and then beat his wife out of frustration. But a lot of the time she didn't call. She didn't call because the problem is they were so conditioned in knowing that if the police came, they would deport the husband. Well, if you're here with 3 to 5 kids in a house that you're not working on or you're not working to provide for, and your husband is, you're not going to call 911. You're going to take the beating, and you're going to let him just get away with it because why would you remove and deport the breadwinner for the home? And where that lastly translates into, among a lot of other things, is the amount of rapes that happens in that culture. I know so many of you don't ever want to fucking talk about this, but there was a time, I'm not sure when the age of consent was 13 in Mexico. At least that's what I read at one point. Now, people who are of a country don't necessarily give up their cultural habits when they cross the border. And that includes sexual proclivity and what was allowed in your country versus what is in another country. If you don't pay attention, how usual households of Hispanic families go is they'll take a single family home, divide it, partition it off, and you'll get 2 or 3 sometimes families living in a 2 to 3 bedroom home. One family will be in the basement, one family will be up top. It happens more often than you people want to sit there and even remotely accept that it happens. A horny Mexican drunk male who is used to the age of consent being different will wander into the bedroom of a 14-year-old girl who lives downstairs, and shit will happen, and they'll take care of it within their own home, and they'll never call the fucking police. It used to be a joke. You want to talk about cops and locker room talk? We used to say all the time, fucking Mexicans will fuck anything with a wet hole. And you know what? For those of you who want to deny the reality of life and cultures, it's a severe fucking problem. The amount of unreported rapes that happen in the Hispanic community due to intoxication of both drugs and drinking and the unreported crime because nobody wants to be deported is an epidemic. So, for all of you who are fucking bitching and outraged about the people that they're deporting, yes, a majority of them are some of the greatest fucking human beings on the planet. I've never been treated. Black families will treat you like shit. White families will treat you like shit. Hispanic families have always treated me as a cop with the highest level of welcomeness I have ever experienced on the planet. They're the easiest people to deal with when you go to a call. They're the least combative. All you do, show a Hispanic man respect on scene, that motherfucker won't fight with you. It's the simplest as that. Everybody else has a fucking chip on their shoulder and hates the police. So there is criminality in their culture. There is a lot of things in their culture that just don't mix with American society. But for you to bitch and outrage about ICE on your street right now, sadly, they are removing rapists. Sadly, they're removing people who will crash into your car and you'll be stuck with that premium to pay for because they don't have insurance. There's people removing people who do run retail theft rings and a lot more shit. And people, for those of you who are very much pro in the war on drugs, they're removing people who are keeping that thing well funded. You need to shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about on either side. It is a very very complicated issue with this that most people just don't respect. Come here legally, there wouldn't be a fucking problem. That's as simple as that. But since most people don't do it, and most conservatives ignore the problem until it boils over, and most liberals continue to ignore the problem in general, we're going to have this issue. You need to understand culture when you're talking about massive crime out there, and when you're going to be talking about the Hispanic community. Yes, two things can be true at the same time. They are some of the best fucking human beings who are of God and country, sadly theirs, not America first, family, structure, and work ethic. But some of the crimes that happen in that culture, all the way from the epidemic of DUIs, no valid driver's license, no insurance, rapes, retail thefts, and the gang problems that are perpetuated by their children they have here are a stain on America. Knock your shit off. Sit down, shut up, let the experts handle it, because you never gave a shit before this ICE raids, because this has been happening for the last 25 years, and you never gave a shit before.